Now, students of the Savelugu Senior High School in the northern region have called on the government and other relevant institutions and authorities to help prevent a disaster as the structure they are studying in has become a death trap. Now, one of the three senior high school emergency buildings constructed by government across the country is at the verge of collapse in the Savelugu Senior High School. Now, some of the students who have been speaking to Metro TV's Northern Regional Correspondent, that's Alhassan D. Baba, on condition of anonymity, say that the building, which was handed over to the school in the year 2020, shakes whenever they and their teachers occupy it. Now, the students add that the authorities of the school were not paying attention to their complaints until there was a stampede which nearly claimed the lives of some students, and that pushed them to act. However, the evacuation has also brought another challenge on the school authority and students because school authorities are forced to combine about 2 to 3 classes together, making teaching and learning in the school not conducive. We have fortunately been joined on the line by Alhassan D. Baba, our correspondent, to tell us more on this very unfortunate situation in the Savelugu Senior High School. Alhassan, good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. When was this particular structure? Where is this particular structure, which we're told is a death trap at the Savelugu Senior High School, constructed for use as free SHS building?
Thank you so much, Imoru. The building was handed over to the school in the year 2020 after it was constructed under the emergency free senior high school policy run by government. After the building was handed over to the school, students began to experience some unusual movement of the building. So they complained to school authority, whom were not paying attention to it. Some of them even tried labeling some of the students as saboteurs. But this building nearly caused stampede. That was somewhere December last year, somewhere June this year. So it forced the school authority to evacuate the building. So when Metro News heard of this information, we ran to the school to find out what was really happening. And many of the students complained bitterly to us as to what their experience with the building. So the school authority had to evacuate them from the building. And now they have to put them together. And they were very choked in their classrooms because 2 to 3 classrooms had to be combined for studies to go on. So we visited the MCE of the area, who said she was not aware of any situation like that. And the headmaster of the school also refused to speak to Metro News, directing us to the regional education director. So when we went to the regional education director, he said he was not aware of the situation and will have to visit the school to ascertain what the situation really is. So we had to contact the contractor. So when the contractor was contacted, he said he is aware of the situation and was very surprised because, according to the contractor, all the specifications put in the contract were followed. So he was surprised that something like that was happening. So he contacted the engineers and supervisors of the contract to ensure that they rectify the problem, to make sure that lives are safe. So currently, the students are very afraid of the building because they don't know what will happen today or tomorrow. And something needs to be to be done urgently about it in order to save lives.
Well, the authorities that you have spoken to so far tell you that they are not aware of this situation, but did it come to them as a surprise that just a year after building this or putting up this building, we're beginning to see these problems, cracks here and there, the students can't learn under the building, it's making it very inconducive for them. What sort of response did you get? What sort of feeling or vibe did you get from the authorities that you've spoken to?
Actually, looking at how they responded to my questions, it shows that they were not surprised. They were very much aware of this thing, but it's like they were pretending not to be aware of it because none of them were surprised of the question I posed to them. And it's clearly the fact that they are aware of the situation and they were trying to manage it at their level, even though students' lives are at stake. Because when we contacted the headmaster earlier, he said there was nothing like such a building in his school. But when we provided him with videos and other evidence, he said he will not speak to us until the regional education director gives him permission to speak to us. But he admitted that students were evacuated from the building for such a problem. So looking at the whole situation, it's like the authority are much aware of the situation, but they are not trying to be real, or they are not trying to admit that something like that is happening in the school, even though the lives of students are at stake.
Now we're aware that, you know, 2, 3 classes are being combined together, which is creating some kind of a discomfort for the teachers and the students. But apart from that, how are the students and the teachers coping with this makeshift structures?
Yes, many of the teachers who spoke to me or off camera said they were facing a whole lot of challenges for this reason, and they were not able to speak out because there is something in the school. If you speak out, people try to brand you as a saboteur. For that matter, they were all quiet, but they were very, very uncomfortable with the situation. For the students, if you check in the videos, many of the students were sweating because they were too choked in the classroom. So the situation in the school is not really friendly, and something needs to be done seriously about it, because what we are seeing cannot promote good teaching and learning.
Oh, well, that's quite an eyesore, isn't it? But anyway, thank you very much, Alhassan Dibaba, for talking to us this afternoon.